So we have Kelvin Sadua from River State right here in Nigeria. Good morning, Mr. Kelvin. Good to have you join us on the show. And permit me to also say congratulations to your darling Super Eagles for qualifying for the Mundial come next year. Mr. Kevin Sadua, can you hear us? Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Signature Sport.
Frank. Good morning, Frank. I can hear you clearly. And how's the city of Abuja doing?
All right, so quickly, Kelvin Sadua, tell us how is Port Harcourt this morning? I mean, a River State to be precise, following that impressive performance by the Super Eagles yesterday against Benin Republic.
Well, Port Harcourt, first of all, Port Harcourt is doing fine. The weather is good today. And at least we don't have the normal Port Harcourt instability of weather, rain, and all of that. The atmosphere here, as regarding the Super Eagles qualification, was already cool and calm, especially as Rwanda lost to Libya. So going into the game, a lot of persons didn't really take it too serious. But as we go further, I would analyze it from my own point of view, what I saw. But congratulations to the Super Eagles for picking up the 2025 tickets tomorrow.
All right, quickly now, let's get to what you saw in that game. So many Nigerians, we are not impressed by the performance of the Super Eagles. Starting from the formation of 5-3-2 formation, having the likes of Akelechi here and show Alex Iwobi, to which so many persons also added that those two players had no business starting that game. But overall, the team had to struggle to put 2, 3, 4 passes together. Were you impressed by the players' performance yesterday?
Certainly, I wasn't. I wasn't impressed at all. It's made me question if Austin Eguavon has the tactical knowledge to lead us in this coming AFCON. It gave me a bittersweet feeling because I wasn't convinced. When I saw the game yesterday, we were just looking scattered, like there's no formation, there's no tactics rather. And there's something I also discovered that it seems like Austin Eguavon hasn't changed. He hasn't grown because I saw we faced exactly what he did when he took us to the last Nations Cup. Exactly the same thing. Clueless once they go behind, they become clueless. And at a point, he started throwing in. He changed his formation. That is abnormal for a coach to change the formation during the game. Not even changing players, he's changing the formation. That means did he not do his research properly, or what exactly? You can't tell me you have these good star-studded players and you can't string one or two, three passes. And it seems like it's the same thing we experienced at the Nations Cup. We were just fortunate to be winning 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and we got to the final based on a rock solid defense. But the midfield still seems like we do not have a midfield up to now. And African football, at least from the last AFCON that we saw, it shows that African football is changing. But Nigeria is still stagnant in where it is. You can't talk about playing game and there is no midfield in this current dispensation. So should the NFF look at this before then? Yes, they should get a coach. They should get a proper tactical coach. I won't be confident in Austin Eguavon taking us to the 2025, being the coach of the Super Eagles at the 2025 Nations Cup. I won't be confident about it because what I saw yesterday night or yesterday evening, people may want to excuse that, oh yeah, they already knew they've qualified. No, you already knew you've qualified does not give excuse of the kind
I
of
was
football you
actually
played yesterday.
coming to that because before the kickoff, the Super Eagles had already qualified, going to the fact that Libya pulled a surprise against Rwanda away from home with that 1-0 win. Don't you think that that affected his lineup and also that made the team played in your word, lackluster performance?
First of all, we cannot say it affected his lineup. Because if it affects the lineup, that means I sorry to use the word, then he's not decisive or he's clueless. Because the Libya game ended around 5:30 or 5 o'clock. Yes, 5 o'clock, 5:30. The Nigeria lineup came up precisely 6:30 p.m. So if you are changing your tactics based on your rather your formation or your lineup based on the outcome of a match that just ended 30 minutes to 1 hour before your own game, that means you are not decisive as a coach. I mean, coaches give their lineup a day before or the morning of the game, not 30 to 15 minutes before the game starts. Yes, we as the fans, we see the lineup 30 minutes or 1 hour before the game starts, but the coaches, the players already know whether they will be playing the next day, whether they'll be in the starting lineup the next day or in the bench. So I won't excuse that he already knew that they qualified. That's by the way. Then the infield play, that does not show a sign of the fact that you've qualified, it does not mean you should. I mean, you can't connect passes. That's a different ball game. Losing is one thing, but playing that way we did yesterday, no, no, no. I can't excuse that on the fact that they knew they had already qualified.
All right, let's quickly look at Victor Osimhen, one man that have always poured out his heart whenever he's playing a football, and yet yesterday his goal put him as second joint top scorers in the history of the Super Eagles, scoring his 23rd goals in 46 appearances. He sits second with the mathematical one, Segun Odegbami, and he's just 14 goals behind the late Rashidi Yekini. I don't know if we can get the clip of that towering header he scored in that game against the Cheetahs of Benin Republic. But before then, Kelvin, now let's look at Victor Osimhen. How important is Victor Osimhen for the Super Eagles?
Very important. Very, very important. Victor Osimhen is very important to the Super Eagles. But then again, aside Victor Osimhen, we should be able to. Or we've shown that without Victor Osimhen, we can win games. We did that in the last that have gone in 20 this year, 2024. But his impact is important. But I think the coach needs to, or the whoever is going to be the new coach of the NFF or the current coach at Sinagwavon needs to look at a way that to take attention away from Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman. I mean, Ademola Lookman was a danger man yesterday, and I saw the Benin Republic always the Benin guys always had two men on Ademola Lookman, and once you clip Ademola Lookman and either Simon Moses, it's difficult to get Osimhen. At the point, Osimhen was screaming for the whooping crosses. They should whooping crosses for him, and they couldn't get that. Osimhen is not so brilliant in running with the ball, maybe giving him a true ball to score. He's more of the kind of player that can hold up play for you and good in the air, bringing down the ball for you. So if we are going to rely so much on Osimhen, I won't count on that. You can't rely so much on Osimhen. Even in Napoli, he needed a winger like Kvaratskhelia to help him, and that's similar with what we have at Ademola Lookman. So if the coach can have a good pair between Ademola Lookman and Victor Osimhen, those two players will be key. So we shouldn't just take only the center focus to be on Victor Osimhen. It's very easy to mark him out of games, and to some good extent, the Benin Republic team did that. But as Benin Republic, if we meet a team like Ivory Coast or Egypt, I mean, it might be a different ball game.
Victor
Congratulations to him also
Osimhen
again.
with
Yes.
that goal. We don't know if it is ready now. Won the Man of the Match award, and then the likes of Victor Boniface, unfortunately, didn't register a goal, even though so many persons believe that a game as this magnitude against Benin Republic should have at least had him played in that one, and perhaps he would have opened his goal scoring account as far as the qualification for the AFCON 2025 is concerned. But Victor Osimhen yet again registered 3 goals in his last 2 games, and all those goals came in through headers. And so many persons believe that he has displaced Mutiu Adekboju as the headmaster of the Super Eagles. Quickly again, Kelvin, Victor Osimhen, the goals. Does this put an end of that apologies that Nigerians have been waiting for, that he must render to Finidi George for him to shine again? Or you believe that Victor Osimhen is a chosen one?
Um, First of all, we can't use the qualifiers to just say he has redeemed himself. And I don't even personally, I don't even feel there's any enmity between him and Finidi George. Yes, footballers have this clash, they have this quarrel, and the rest of them, but they easily should go move on past it, right? And To say he's the chosen one, I've not seen that thing yet from Osimhen. Like the way we saw Kanu Nwankwo at some point was the chosen one for Nigeria. JJ Okocha took that position. The likes of Amokachi the Bull, and even Rashidi Yakini. So I don't think Osimhen has gotten to that point yet. Yes, he's getting the goals, but I don't think he has gotten to that point where we know that okay, once Osimhen is on the pitch, then we are very sure that we have an 80%, 90% likelihood that we're going to win the game. So it may be too quick to call him the chosen one yet, for me.
All right, let's enjoy how Osimhen was able to silence the home fan with that goal of his.
Nouveau centre, Osimhen. Oh, ça termine au fond des filets. Est-il hors jeu, Victor Osimhen? J'ai l'impression que le drapeau ne s'est pas levé. L'égalisation des Super Eagles, que c'est dur. C'est pas super mérité, mais les Super Eagles restent forts grâce au buteur Victor Osimhen.
Du Bénin, les joueurs centrent trop facilement depuis le début du match. Et là, cette fois-ci, ça ne pardonne pas. Victor Osimhen, cette fois-ci, après de multiples essais, a enfin transformé, validé cette tête qui remet le Nigeria dans cette partie.
Ah, il avait essayé avec beaucoup de déchets.
And Group D is still very much open despite the Super Eagles of Nigeria haven't qualified. Benin Republic, Rwanda and Libya all stand a chance of progressing into the Mondial proper. As for Benin Republic, they need just a point against Libya to qualify. And for Rwanda, they need an outright win against Nigeria, at least with a 5-goal scoreline for them to stand any chance of progressing. And for Nigeria, they join the likes of Morocco, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, DR Congo, Senegal, Algeria, Egypt, Angola, Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast, Uganda, South Africa, Gabon, and Tunisia to have qualified for the AFCON 2025. All right, Kelvin, before we leave the shores of the local scene, let's look at this big story where the likes of Demola Lookman will be battling Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Yamin Lamal, and not forgetting Phil Foden and 25 other players for the best men's footballer of the year in the 2024 Globe Soccer Award. Do you think that Ademola Lookman, with all the heroics he pulled for Atalanta as well as the Super Eagles, it will help him stand a chance against this heavyweight for this award?
First of all, it's a fairy tale for Ademola Lookman. What a year he's having. He's not going to win it, and I'm pretty sure he knows he's not going to win it. But being nominated in that class, there's a certain thing or certain stage you get to in your football career when you are being mentioned among the likes of some certain caliber of players, then you've succeeded already. You've achieved it. You've gone far. You've made the most of your career. So when I saw the news, I was so happy. I was so proud of him. He just keeps on showing that he's having a year. In fact, I said what a year he's having. I mean, you've been on the Ballon d'Or nominee. I think he got 14th position, and he's most likely going to take the AFCON, the CAF award. Most likely, I can't say he will, but I say most likely. And then being nominated again at the Globe Award. I mean, it's a big plus for him. And my only fear for him is consistency, because we've seen a lot of players do the same thing, get this kind of nomination, get this sort of recognition, and after a couple of years, they die off, and the people start asking, where did he go to? How did this happen? So I hope he can maintain the consistency, make the right club movement, the right transfer, and the sky is the limit for the young man.
At least your fears will not be registered for the African Footballer of the Year 2024, because clearly Ademola Lookman stands a chance of bringing home this award. Even coach of Benin Republic, Gennett Rowe, has also supported that Ademola Lookman is the only player in this year on the review stands to be the one to win this award. Don't you think so?
Yeah, that's very kind of Gennaro to say, and he's right. He's objective. He's been objective, and Ademola Lookman is in the right position. He won the silver medal at the AFCON. He was, I think, the best player of the tournament, right? If I'm not mistaken, and scoring a hat trick at the Europa Cup or the Europa Cup. Yeah, that makes him a number one candidate. I can't see any other person close to him. I think only Adingra, and yeah, Adingra, and that's probably because he won the African Cup of Nations. But aside that, nothing, no one comes close to Ademola Lookman's personal achievement and club achievement, as well as country achievements for the year. So he's well deserved, and that was very sportsman of Gennaro to do, considering the way he left the NFF, the Super Eagles. Um, he still has good and high praise over his players, his former boys.
All right, just to put it on a clear perspective, it was Captain William Trust Ekong that won the best player in the AFCON 2023, and Ademola Lookman made the team of the competition in the best 11. And finally, from the local scene, Kelvin, let's quickly look at the Nigerian Premier Football League. Action resumed this weekend, and it's going to be top of the table, Remo Stars against second in the table, Rivers United at the Ikane Stadium right there in the home of Remo Stars. But the big news will be coming from Kano State, where Kano Pillars in their new refurbished stadium, that is the Sani Abacha Stadium, and they will be welcoming Heartland of Owerri. That match looks like a match that will be so beautiful on cameras. As for Kano Pillars, they have been neither here nor there. Do you see the team playing in front of their new stadium, picking up 3 points against a team from Owerri, Adland Football Club, that have shown a great form in their last 3 games, winning all 3 of their last 3 games?
I think a new stadium, first of all, a new stadium is an optimistic thing for any club. And Kano Pillars, as like rightly said, have been off and on for the past 2 or 3 seasons. And it will be a good opportunity for them to show their fans that, okay, we are committed. The management of the club have already provided a new stadium, well refurbished, state-of-the-art stadium for the club. It's now time for the players to give back to the fans, to show them something, a good sign of an optimistic or positive sign of change, and to show that Kano Pillars is going to get back to where it used to be, the glory days of Kano Pillars. And no better time than to meet a tough opponent as Heartlands of Owerri, and to show their dominance or their strengths. So it's going to be a good one, and it's one that I look forward to watching and enjoying as well.
And for Remo Stars against Rivers United, who do you think will get all 3 points? Or do you think that this game is big enough to end in a draw?
The thing is, Remo Stars have a good and impressive home record, but Rivers United, being in the past 4 years, Rivers United have shown strength, and they've shown that they can beat anybody, and they've shown that they can actually they've gone as far as even taking down the big boys. So I think I will tilt to a draw. I will tilt to a draw, but if at all, and if at all, I'm to see a likely winner to be Rivers United, and secondly because of course we are from Rivers State, so we have to support our people and hope they get the 3 points.
All right, let's go on our first break on the show. When we return, we will be moving straight to the second half of the show, and that is from the foreign scene. Signature Sports makes a return after this timeout. Don't go nowhere. All right, glad to know you are still tuning and logged on to Signature Television. This is Signature Sport, and I am Franklin Imona. Welcome to the second half of your flagship sports show. And quickly, we get into the foreign scene as we go straight to South America, where the Albo Celeste could not believe their eyes as they were stunned by 2-1 by Paraguay. Despite Lautaro Martinez's goal in the first half, it was not enough to stop the Albo Celeste, coached by Lionel Scolani's side, to be defeated by 2-1. Lautaro Martinez opened this goal-scoring account in the 11th minute in the first half, but Sanabria drew an equalizer in the 19th minute, 8 minutes from time. And then late in the first half, in the second half, I beg your pardon, Omar Alderete made sure that the home side got all 3 points as he gave his team an unassailable lead, scoring the second goal. Quickly, Mr. Kelvin, who has been with us all the way from Port Harcourt in Rivers State, are you surprised with the scoreline? It seems that Argentina having their own dose of their medicine. They have not recorded a win in their last 2 games.
Not really surprised. The Paraguayans, they are fairly good, and Argentina also, like you said, have not picked up a win in their last 2 games. But then again, that's not an excuse because I mean, when it comes to quality, Paraguayans are nowhere near the Argentines. But we can't outrule or rule out the Paraguayans squad. They have the likes of Amiron, they have the like of Enciso, and even Alderete, the guy who scored the goal, the winning goal for Paraguay. So I think it's perhaps the case of underrating them. The Argentines are kind of like underrated the Paraguayans, and then it cost them. But the Paraguayans need to start picking up points. They've only won 4 games out of I think 12 they played, or 10 they played rather. They've only won 4, and they need to climb up the top now to secure a chance at qualifying at the World Cup. Last World Cup, they missed out at the qualification of the last World Cup by a whisker, and so they need to actually meet up. And they've done well to beat the Argentines, but the Argentines, I believe, will bounce back from this. It's not something that should cause a news headline because when I woke up this morning, I saw the whole news, and it's not something that should cause really much of a big headline. The Argentines will definitely
Another
get back
team
up,
that could not
but
pull
it's a
a
good win.
win is their close rivals, the Seleção of Brazil. Rafinha got a goal in that game against Venezuela, but the surprising event in that game was Real Madrid winger Vinicius Junior missing a penalty. And then it was Venezuela who got an equalizer, and one of the players was sent off late in the game, Alexander Gonzalez. What's going on with Brazil? Brazil seems to be a shadow of themselves, and Ronaldinho has clearly come out to say that he would rather sit at home and watch cartoon rather than watch the present squad of Brazil. Is Brazil losing it?
Yes, straight answer. Yes, they are losing it, and not just Brazil. Generally, the world of football is losing it. We have kids now coming into the game, and they are not really up to standard, but they feel they have made it all. They get carried away by things outside the football world, and they don't really get to impact inside the game. Vinicius, fantastic player, wonderful player, but Vini Jr. has so much noise coming up from outside, which most times the noise he generates them by himself, coming up from outside, and very little effort inside the game. I told someone the other day that the Brazilian squad of 2002, when Brazil was Brazil, if I'm to use that word, Vinicius is the only player in the whole of this current Brazil squad that will make it to the bench. He won't even make it to the starting lineup. He would be on the bench, and it will be deep. He won't even make it. Okay, maybe the bench in a friendly game, not even in the World Cup. And look at him missing a penalty in that game. In fact, that game was a whole lot of mess with so much noise. I watched the first half of the game, and the Brazil team, there's no flair. The flair that we know the Brazilians have, that flair is no longer there. I can't recognize Brazil because that was a country I loved to watch growing up as a boy, but now it's a shadow of itself. Coupled with the fact that they still have a midfield crisis, you can't be relying on on Casemiro, Fabinho for your midfield. It's a challenge. And coach is also another problem for Brazil. They are relying too much on foreign talents, whereas they have a beautiful league, wonderful league with the likes of Flamingos, Bahia, Botafogo, good players in there that understand themselves and the chemistry. Rather, they are outsourcing European talents that are playing out in Europe, and it's a problem for them. And if they keep going at this pace, then other countries will meet them in that 5 World Cup slot that they've gotten to, and they may not make much progress.
Absolutely. I cannot disagree with you. Because you look at the Brazil team of the old, you find the likes of Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Edmondson, Cafu, Roberto Carlos. You can see players like Kaká, Roberto, Robinho, and they are giving their all. But the kind of players we'll see in present-day Brazil are either social media freaks, party going freaks, or they are plainly tattoo wearing players, and these are young lads. But of course, Kelvin, let us not take injury away from this present Brazil squad. The likes of Neymar is out, Richarlison is out, Rodrigo is out, Elder Militao is also out, and these are players that have a huge say in the Brazil team. Would you still want to blame injury, or you see these players as not good enough? Or you see the coaches as not a quality, or better say, they are not professional enough to be the coaches of Brazil?
I can't blame injury. The only player you've called that you can say injury is Neymar. And Neymar, basically, the stage Neymar has gotten to his career is not the stage that Brazil should be relying on him anymore. He has gotten to that advanced stage where you can't be relying on that Neymar must be in the game anymore. That's gone. When you talk about injury of Richarlison, I mean, like you mentioned, the Rivaldos, the Ronaldos, the Cafus. Richarlison is, sometimes I forget he's a Brazilian, actually. No disrespect to him, but you can't be relying on Richarlison as your Brazilian striker. That's also a challenge Brazil needs to look. They need a proper striker, a good striker, not Richarlison. Richarlison is good, he's average, no doubt, but you need a sharp striker like the likes of when they had Ronaldo, when they had Adriano. Those are the kind of Robinho. Those are the kind of people that Brazil should be relying on. That when you say they have injury, you can say, "Oh yes, there's injury." Then again, you can't tell me injury is an excuse for Brazil not to win Venezuela. Who is in Venezuela? Most of their players play in MLS. You can't compare the quality of MLS even to the Brazilian league, not to talk about the European guys, and you are struggling to win Venezuela. That is not, to me, it's not an excuse. I think the current crop of players are not matured enough. It's just that simple. That's just it.
All right, let's come down to some of the games that went down in Europe. We saw England with a 3-0 win over Greece, and it was a beautiful revenge. And it also put the Three Lions qualification round into the next stage of the Nations League rather, it was brought alive. And we also saw France played out a goalless draw against Israel following that insecurity scare. But the big one was Norway haven't been plummeted in the last game by Austria by 5-1. They were 4-1 winners over Slovenia. And once again, your Haaland was on the score sheet. But Belgium fell to Italy by a lone goal. But let's take it from England. England, despite the injury worries, they won by 3-1. A beautiful result for you. Or you think Greece was not a strong opponent for England?
First of all, it's a good result for England. It won't be fair to say Greece were not a strong opponent for England because Greece have won 4 out of 4. If I'm not mistaken, they won 4 out of 4. They've had a good campaign. They won the Englishmen on the English soil, and it was only the right thing for the English boys to do, to come out and get revenge. And they got the revenge in a good style, 3-0, 3-0 as against when they lost to Greece by 1-0. So the quality of the English players too also should speak out for itself, and that showed out in the game yesterday. So I think the English boys did well together, and to also keep their hopes alive to find the next group in the Nations League. I think it's high time the English team, with all their caliber of players over the years, should be winning trophies. They shouldn't be struggling with countries like Greece. No disrespect to these countries because they also have talented players, but then again, when we're talking about England, with most of your players playing in your league, not out of your league, then you should be some certain games should not be a challenge for you. So that's my take on it.
All right, let's quickly look at the game between Italy and Belgium. Belgium seems to be the most underachievers following their arrays of stars. Yet again, they fell to Italy by a long goal. And Italy haven't been the best of national teams in the last few games, but they were able to pull that win over Belgium. Is it high time we stop tagging Belgium a big name, or you think it was just a bad day in the office for the Belgian national team?
Okay, it wasn't a bad day in the office for the Belgium national team. Like you said first, it is high time we stop calling Belgium a big team. That time has passed. That was 4, 5 years ago. The Belgians have faded off. In fact, the signs of the house cracking came up in the 2018 World Cup when they could not qualify from their group. That was where the signs began to show. Their golden era is gone when they had a very well working fit Eden Hazard, when they had Lukaku on all cylinders, they had Kevin De Bruyne on all cylinders, they had Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Thibaut Courtois. That was when they should have gone for a major kill, which I still appreciate the fact that they got the bronze medal in the 2014 World Cup. So at least we can't say they didn't use their golden era for something positive. But after that era, they ought to have moved up, and it doesn't look likely, or it doesn't look like it does what's on ground. I was surprised they lost to Italy though. They should have at least gotten a draw from that game. I was surprised they lost to Italy. But then again, like you said, the Italians are not so exceptional, but they are showing signs of transition. By the way, with the new coach they got, which is the former Napoli Scaloni, they are showing signs that they are building something. But the Belgians, I do not know where the Belgians are right now. Are they building? Are they managing themselves? What exactly is the Belgian plan? Are they trying to grow up a new generation? This is what we don't know. These are questions that the FA in Belgium needs to answer and then move forward and get themselves running again so that they can look forward to 2026 World Cup. I mean, the last World Cup was shambolic. It was a shambolic performance for them. So that's it.
All right, away from national team football, let's talk club football for a few minutes before we let you go. One man has come out to tell Carlo Ancelotti that, look, this is not the Kylian Mbappe I signed. Brazilian Real Madrid president Fiorentino Perez has come out to slam coach Carlo Ancelotti that he has turned Kylian Mbappe to a vegetable, that this is not the player he signed from Paris Saint-Germain. It seems that Real Madrid all is not well in that team, and we hear that Bayern Leverkusen have accepted the fact that Xabi Alonso will be leaving the club this summer, and we hear that Real Madrid is looking like a likely destination following the dressing room unrest by Real Madrid players. And we know that Carlo Ancelotti has not really been having it good with Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and of course Vinicius Jr. What do you take about all of these stories?
Okay, first thing first, I'll start with Fiorentino Perez. I think the signing of Kylian Mbappe was an ostentatious signing. It was not a necessity. They didn't need Mbappe. Mbappe is not a striker. They should have gone for a striker. Rather, they went for a big name because I mean the biggest players always want to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. So they signed him, creating a problem for Ancelotti. So him blaming Ancelotti, I think it should be the other way around. Ancelotti should rather be blaming Fiorentino Perez. He didn't need Kylian Mbappe. When Benzema left and then Joselu left, they should have gotten a point striker. You have your winger Vinicius scoring more than your striker. Mbappe is not a striker. Even when he was at PSG, he showed time without number that playing top nine, he's ineffective. He prefers to come in from the wing, the left wing preferably. That exact wing that Vinicius Junior is playing. When you watch Real Madrid games, a lot of times you see Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe on that wing, and the box is empty. The whooping crosses and there's nobody to nod the ball in or to get on the ball end of the ball to put the ball in the back of the net. So that's the problem I think Florentino Perez should hold himself accountable to. Then Carlo Ancelotti, I think it's high time Don Carlo. I mean, not supposed to prove. And there's a popular saying that quit now or you stay long enough to be. Now he's getting to that point where it seems like he's going to become the villain because the Real Madrid fans don't take. You could literally win the treble for them last season. And if you are messing up this season, they will throw you under the bus. Real Madrid fans are good at that because the level of that club, the standard is so, so high. They don't take nonsense. And it looks likely they won't win the league this season. They've never defended the league since 2002. They've never defended their title. Only Barcelona has done that. And it looks like this season they won't defend their title also.
All right,
Again, at
Kelvin
Bayern
Sodua,
Leverkusen,
before we let you go, we hear that Grandpa Claudio Ranieri has been called out of retirement to become the head coach of AS Roma in the Italian Serie A. Don't you think that Papa Ranieri should be at home with his grandchildren rather than take on the leadership in AS Roma? At the age of 78, he shouldn't have accepted that contract. Do you think otherwise?
Okay, first of all, the contract is a temporary one. It's just from now to the end of the season. And he loves the club. He's a club after his own heart. He needs to repair the club. Roma needs fixing. They need a lot of help. And him going there, I think, is a good one. But it should just be temporary. However, it may stress him, but they should have something to mitigate that.
All right. Many thanks to you, Kelvin Sodua, all the way from Port Harcourt in Rivers State. It was such a beautiful time talking sports with you, and indeed enjoy all of your analysis. Once again, thank you for joining us on Signature Sport.
Thank you so much, too. It was a pleasure.
All right, that was Mr. Kelvin, all the way from Rivers State. And